just don't want you to be afraid of this book. Just don't go into it with fear, like, oh my God, I'm going to cover something, and no. It's like some people approach the end times that way. It's like, oh, this is all bad stuff. God does it as a rescue to us. It's God rescuing us and bringing back the world the way He wants it to be. It's not this bad thing that God is doing to us. It's a great thing. That's why we celebrate end times right before Christmas. Jesus came. That's a wonderful thing that He came to this earth and brought healing. Told us this is the way God wants the world to be and to do this. And so we look forward to His coming again so that everything that's wrong with this world will be put right. That's
I'm glad I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up on Sunday about Christ coming and forming the new Jerusalem, the new other than us going.
Yeah, other than us taking off and going somewhere else. No, don't we talk about the return of Christ? Not about us disappearing to go somewhere to be with Him. The Bible talks about the return of Christ. Christ coming back. Yeah. So, there's also, I put in there, I think, on the first day's questions, a quote by Mark Allen Powell, who wrote a lot of books. But one of the quotes I took out of here was that the book of Revelation appeals to the most poorly educated people of our societies. I just found that interesting. Because it's like, well, hey, it just is one of those things that it also appeals to people who are in persecution. You're going to get yours, I'm going to survive. And that's apocalyptic writing. It's writing with those kind of people. Well, let's take a look at some of this stuff and just figure out, if I was to ask you, if you could actually, if I was to give you an envelope and say, here are the details of the rest of your life.
Oh, geez.
Here's the time frame, here's how much time you have left, and here's what you have to face. Would you open it or not?
No. Oh, no way.
Shirley says yes. Probably not.
Maybe the first week.
See how it looks.
If it's going good, I'll go second week. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's one of those things where, I go to the doctor and I come home and say, well, he said something about this. Man, Kamie's on the internet reading all the crap. You want to know what it is? I don't care. It'll let me know. I'll deal with it when I have to deal with it. Some people want to know. Some people will take it as it comes. And so I understand the desire. Let me know. Yeah, I'd open it and read it. Others go, I want nothing to do with that. So I think some people want to know. And so it's very important to them that they decode this into a path then that they can see. But let's just say that a question that was once posed to Martin Luther. If you opened your letter and you found out you were to die in 2 days, what would you do tomorrow?
Plant a tree.
Luther said he'd plant a tree. That he would continue the work that God called him to do to bring about this new creation. And because if Christ would return, or I'm going to do my part up until the time in which I can't do it, knowing that I'm part of what God is doing in this new creation, and ultimately it'll be fulfilled when Christ returns. So that was Luther. Other people at a party. I don't know. But it's just kind of one of those interesting questions. And so when we look at this, what does that do to people if they think, oh no, the world's coming to an end? When was it? We've had a few of these in a row now. First the guy did it in the spring and that didn't work, so then he moved it to the fall. Oh, I got it wrong, that didn't work. And then we got the Mayans, but then the Oreo cookie kind of looks the same. And they said, no, that's the counteraction to that. Maya. If you ever look at the Oreo cookie, it looks like the Mayan deal that they always show for Canada. And people get all excited about this stuff. It's amazing. We had, someone here who, pulled their kids out of school so they could spend the last day together. And holy moly, just scary stuff for them. Whew. My assumption, if Christ comes again, I'm going to share with who I want to share with. I'm going to fly my kids into town, for Christ's sake. God will do it for me, Don't worry about that. So anyway. But that's just one question. Is it important to you to know what the future, to try and decode this and figure out the future? Is there a fascination that any of you have for reading these prediction books? It started a long time ago. Hal Lindsey was the first. This latest guy looks at Isaiah 40-something and applies all the current events, especially in the Mideast, to Isaiah's prophecies. But still the same thing, determining the end time and when it's going to come and how. All these are signs leading up.
Is there a public fascination with this sort of thing?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
Like a conspiracy, like after World War II was over, there was this thing that continued. Hitler's alive and well in Argentina.
Yeah.
That went on for years.
When I took my grandfather down to Florida and we visited the house where he died, this was the bed that President Roosevelt died in. My grandfather said, "No, he didn't." We go, "He didn't? Where did he die?" "Russia. Died in Russia." I'll be darned. I learned later, because now my eyes were open, that there were people who thought because he gave away so much of Eastern Europe that Roosevelt made a pact, and then he took off and went over to Russia, and that's where he ended up.
I never heard that one.
Yeah, I hadn't either, but my grandfather from North Platte, Nebraska knew it.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I heard it later. I just kind of looked at him and go, "Wow, Grandpa, quiet." Anyway, he was pretty loud in his opinion. But at least wait till we get in the car. But I'll be darned. There was a whole group of people who believed that. There's people who believe the Holocaust really didn't happen. You got pictures, you got people who were there, and they still think, "No, they made it up." Amazing to me. So in any way, there's always people who have different points of view. And now we call that news when we put these people who say the Holocaust doesn't exist with people, and then we treat that as a valid point of view. That's what's amazing to me in today's discussion is we put the most polar opposite people that we can find and then have them discuss it and call it fair. Come on. It's a nut. It's not fair when you have a discussion with a nut. How is that fair, man? Give me a break. Just amazing.
Eisenhower predicted that.
He did. That's why he had to take pictures.
These guys who start taking photographs of all of them.
Absolutely. He knew it would happen. And they still believe it. Mel Gibson.
Oh.
Because it's shadow on them.
But I think one of the things that does say is that we have a tendency to believe what we want to believe. And that we will find information that supports that point of view. I remember watching, I think it was on the History Channel, a group of people who went to Auschwitz, Poland, and tried to prove by chemistry in the soil and stuff that there were never any cremations or anything like that that would have been done there to prove that the Holocaust is all a fabrication. So just amazing, we do that. So none of you are interested in doing that? Kind of deciphering Revelation so you know when the end's coming so you can be ready? Jesus basically said it comes like a thief in the night. You don't know when, you don't know where. So, yeah.
So that means that if somebody predicts tomorrow is the end, You know it's not tomorrow. Because
No.
because nobody knows.
Nobody knows, but I predict every Saturday. I've lived that with God. I'm not going to work, finish my sermon until if Jesus comes in the morning. Why in the world would I have wasted my 9 hours of my life preparing a sermon for Sunday? I fully expect him to come. I'm disappointed every Saturday night. Oh, crud. Here we go again.